from the T20 World Cup winning squad, obviously we've lost Rohit and Virat have retired. So who are their two replacements?
On that question, I think Abhishek Sharma is definitely the replacement for Rohit Sharma. I think he's the number one T20 batter in the world right now.
I just feel really bad for him. I feel, Shreyas, he's such an asset to any country, any team, any team, any playing 11 would want him. See, he just provides that leadership quality as well. I can imagine it's also very hard for the India selectors because in terms of T20, there's a massive pool of talent to kind of choose from.
If Gautam Gambhir came out and said, there's a clash of values between me and Shreyas or wherever, there's a personality clash, I respect him for that. Because then I'll say, do you know what? He's the coach, and he's got to be able to have the trust and the respect of the players that are ultimately going to represent him.
Really surprised. I think it's just one of those ones where, right, we've got Abhishek Sharma, we've got Jaiswal. Who do we look at? Because they're quite similar, young, aggressive, dynamic batsman, left-hand batsman. Would it have been a case that we would have liked to see both of them open?
Hi guys, and welcome back to Two Halves and Two Innings, to a very special Asia Cup squad announcement video. Wanted to get some live reaction from myself, Ajay and Amit. So guys, straight off the bat, what's your initial reaction to the squad announcement that's come out in the last couple of days? And what are your thoughts on who's in? And maybe more importantly, who's out? Amit, coming to you first.
Well, the biggest name that's causing kind of shockwaves across Indian media and social media is a certain Shreyas Iyer. There is obviously a personality clash between him and Gautam Gambhir, and I'm really disappointed, really. But they need to come out with the reasons for. I read one person saying, I think the defense Ajit Agarkar said.
Yeah.
He said, who do we replace? But there's no one in that squad who I genuinely, hand on heart, thinks is better than Shreyas. For me, it should be he should be in that team, and whoever else, the team should be built around him. In essence, he's that linchpin. If we look at from the T20 World Cup winning squad, obviously we've lost Rohit and Virat have retired. So who are their two replacements?
For me, on that question, I think Abhishek Sharma is definitely the replacement for Rohit Sharma. I think he's the number one T20 batter in the world right now. So for me, he's definitely the Rohit Sharma replacement. And they've snuck Shubman Gill in. There was talk that Gill wouldn't make it. I think Gill is definitely seen as the Kohli replacement. But so for me, they're the big two who kind of are the future. The two Punjabi lads, they've got a lot of kind of weight on their shoulder now about taking this mantle forward. But I completely agree with the Shreyas. I mean, I don't think there can be any question now, because there was question marks about the test selection, and people said, it's England, the short ball. I mean, T20 in the Middle East, in the UAE, his runs in the IPL, his record for Punjab speaks for itself. Ajay, I know you're a diehard Punjab fan. You've watched Sir Punj Saab do so well this past year, captaining the Punjab side. What's your reaction on Shreyas Iyer being left out the squad?
Honestly, man, what does a Banda have to do to get selected into a team, man? Honestly, and goes to back-to-back IPL finals and takes Punjab to the final. I mean, the guy should have been a guaranteed shoo-in, at least for the team and cementing his place at number 3 or 4. So I don't know. I mean, obviously we go back to, there's quite a lot of stories on social media talking about politics, talking about selection and things, and obviously we can't really dwell too much on it without full informed sources and proper coverage. But I just feel really bad for him. I feel, Shreyas, he's such an asset to any country, any team, any playing 11 would want him starting and batting. And honestly, he just provides that leadership quality as well. Kind of like if not a captain, at least a vice captain role. So I'm very disappointed. And another person who I'm quite surprised is not in is our star boy of the Test series, Mohammad Siraj. Now, whether or not he's getting a bit of a nice extended holiday, kind of time slip there, a bit more relaxing.
DSP, sir.
He's probably he's gone back to his Hyderabad police role. But I honestly, it's quite surprising if you actually put the non-selected 11, and I've got a picture of it here against the selected 11. You could actually, it's like Chelsea. You got two fantastic starting 11s here, honestly. So I can imagine it's also very hard for the India selectors because in terms of T20, there's a massive pool of talent to kind of choose from. But you know what, credit the likes of Jitesh Sharma, who's going to be behind the stumps, being wicketkeeper, and also to obviously Tilak Varma as well, kind of getting in there, and Varun Chakaravarthy. So there's some surprising mentions in there, but again, obviously with T20, India's always going to be favourites in this competition. And
yeah, I was going to say the other thing about Shreyas Iyer is, I mean, again, I know it's a different format, but the last time India won their last trophy was a Champions Trophy, and that was in UAE, which obviously Shreyas did very well in. So, you know, and again, I appreciate obviously it's 20 overs, not 50 overs, but again, that familiarity of the pitches, which was less than a year ago, you know, surely that should have stacked up in his behaviour, in his favour. Ajay, you said, what does a banda have to do to get into the team? It appears that they have to be married to a politician. We'll leave it at that.
I like it.
We'll leave it at that.
That is very mirchi and very masala.
That was spicy.
I completely. Yes. Yeah, that was very spicy. Swiftly moving on. I know Rohit's not here, and one of his favourite topics was to discuss the form and fitness of a certain Jasprit Bumrah. Amit, I'm going to come to you because I've got a separate question for Eddie after. I'm going to come to you first. What do you make of Bumrah being in the squad? I mean, he didn't make the last test at the Oval. He's in the Asia Cup squad. What's your initial reaction to that?
You know, he's the world's best bowler across all three formats. You know, this game, as in the T20 game, is not going to put as much strain on his body as a test match. You know, it's four overs, he's got to bowl. He's got to be in the field for, you know, potentially 4 hours. You know, he probably won't even get to bat. So, you know, I think it's, you know, we want our best players, you know, and he definitely is that best player. And again, the amount of games that he's expected to play over that period of time, you know, I'm sure his body can take it.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Ajay, coming to you, I know you've championed this guy for many years, and I can say that. Sanju Samson is in the squad. There's no Rishabh Pant, unfortunately, due to his foot injury in the Test series. I know you've called for Sanju to be in the squad for a number of years. He now potentially could get his chance. It's him or Jitesh Sharma. You know, your thought on the wicket-keeping situation and potentially Sanju finally getting to nail down this in a major tournament.
Yeah, I think he deserves it. I think he showed in the IPL, you know, how good he is, and also in T20 and ODI. He's a fantastic player. You know, he's got a good solid base to him, got a good build. He's very, you know, I feel like he's a very smart cricketer. He kind of, you know, reads situations as well. And I'm glad that he's got the call up, and you know, let's just excited to see what he can do. I think obviously when you look at the kind of opening you know, partnership, if you've got Abishek and you've got Tilak Varma, both left-hand batsmen, so it's also good obviously with Shubman as well as Suryakumar, and then Sanju in that mix as well. I think Jitesh is right-hand batsman as well, I believe. I can't remember. I think he is. And then Washi,
yeah,
I think he's left. So there's a good mix, actually, to be fair. So there's I think, you know, you kind of need that kind of right-hand left-hand batsman as well. So I think with Sanju, you know what, it's his time. So let's see if he can light up this Asia Cup. But I'm glad for him. He deserved it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was actually very surprised as you mentioned Washington Sundar, he was at Anfield on Friday night. Luckily, unluckily, actually, I didn't get a chance to see him, but I knew he was in the main stand as well. But talking to somebody else, Amit, who's also been, you know, replaced, Jadeja is no longer in the T20 team. We see Axar Patel. For you, is he the frontline spinner now in this team? You know, you've got Varun Chakaravarthy and Kuldeep, who can't seem to buy a game at the minute. What do you make of the spin options in the Asia Cup squad?
Yeah, I think they're three good spin options, but I think what Jadeja brings is he brings that batting element as well. So I think out of the three, Jadeja, he brings that batting potential. So that's where Axar Patel, I think, is ahead of the other two, because he's handy with the bat as well as the ball. So I think he'd probably be the main kind of all-rounder spinning option there. But I think both Kuldeep Yadav, I think he's an absolutely brilliant player. I think he's been underutilized by India over many formats. But Chakravarthy, he's done really well in the limited over games. I mean, the one thing I was going to say to you guys is that, and this is a really wild card, why didn't they pick Suryavanshi? He's our friend.
Well, I think there was some talk about him being, part of the opening lineup as well. But I think it kind of goes back into again is like kind of, if you're gonna have Abhishek, do you want another left-hand batsman as well, or do you want to kind of mix it, depending on obviously what the opponent's kind of bowling options are? But it was a good shout though. To be fair, shout out to our boy Vaibhav Suryavanshi. This could have been a tournament to kind of stamp his name as well and to kind of boost his career.
Again, very rarely at the squad it always tends to be the same 11 that play. It's just similar to a World Cup. With football, at the 22, you probably use 15 for them. They probably use 15 players or so. But and you always have one kind of bright young prospect who's kind of getting used to kind of building relationships and understanding kind of tournaments and stuff like that. So it might not have been a bad shout. As you said, we've got. India have got the luxury of two, very well. They've got a depth, and on paper they should win this. They should be defending their title. But games aren't won on paper, and it's how they perform on the day.
I think just quickly, if I say, I think what Dheeraj said a couple of podcasts ago with like Indian hierarchy in terms of, I think there's like a level of respect, what I think he alluded to beforehand. And I think obviously with Vaibhav, it might just be a case of that there's just a lot before him. There's a lot in the pecking order before him. So I think maybe not this Asia Cup, but it may be something that transpires in the next year or 2 years from now where he might get that opportunity, because like you said, there's too much breadth of talent in the T20 game, obviously with the IPL, that other players, who've got the BCCI contracts are kind of looking like, actually, you know what, we deserve to be in this tournament, So I think maybe Vaibhav is a good shout, but I think maybe it's just not this tournament for him because there's too many people in the pecking order before him.
No, completely agree. Another question I wanted to put to you guys is the captaincy. Now, we know Shubman Gill is going to be our test leader moving forward. The ODIs, of course, still under Rohit. You've now got Suryakumar Yadav, who's going to be the captain of the T20s, and you've got Gill as your vice captain. What do you guys feel? Do you think we should go to a model where Gill plays, he's the captain, particularly in T20s, or do you think it's right to stick with Suryakumar Yadav? For me, surprisingly, I would have actually gone, look, Gill's our captain. He's the one we're going to go to in Test cricket. Once Rohit decides to go as well from ODI cricket, that will go to Shubman Gill as well. And we kind of know who the leader is in that dressing room. What do you guys think? It's coming to yourself first. What do you make of Suryakumar Yadav being captain and Shubman Gill being made the vice captain?
Again, is it succession planning or is it respect? Again, we don't know the thoughts behind this. Suryakumar has only been recently kind of made into the captaincy role, and I think it is a very short-term appointment because he's kind of
mid-30s now,
early to mid-30s. So he's probably I suppose it's a shorter form of the game, so he probably could get 2 more World Cups out of him. But it's not a long-term kind of appointment like Shubman is for the Test match, for example, and maybe for this. So if it's a clever kind of strategy in terms of Shubman, you're the man for the future. I want you to learn kind of under the experience of, someone like Suryakumar Yadav, because I think the thing is because it's a short format of the game, I think your critical thinking has to be very quick, because, you've got a very small window to kind of make change and make a positive influence, unlike a test match where you've got the course of 2 innings or 5 days to kind of positively influence the game. But this is you've got 20 overs, and it just as a spectator and I'm sure as a player as well, it just literally just flies by, doesn't it? So that's probably the thinking behind it. Again, personally, I think I would have had Shreyas in, and I know we're going to keep banging that drum, unfortunately, but rightly so. I think I would have had Shreyas in as the vice captain for both ODI, ODI and the T20.
No, I do agree overall. I have to say, I definitely think Shreyas, his leadership took KKR to a title, took Punjab to their first final. I definitely think, he should be in the squad. Going off the squad, I think if Gill's there for me, I think he should probably be giving it. Suryakumar Yadav has kind of been second fiddle to Rohit Sharma with the Mumbai Indians, and now even it's quite funny
Mhm.
actually. Hardik Pandya as his captain for Mumbai, but he captains him at international level, so it's quite a funny one there. Ajay, on the captaincy, but also another noticeable absentee, Jaiswal, who did very well in England.
Yeah.
On both points, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, no, I was just quickly just looking at Sky's kind of record and stats as a captain. So obviously, remember when we lost the 2023 World Cup, then he led our T20 side against Australia and we won 4-1 there. So overall, I think he's captained 23 matches and he's won 18 of them and he's only lost 4 and he tied 1 with Sri Lanka. So he's got a win percentage of 78%. So why break the formula? He seems to do well with the T20 captaincy on him, so he's got a high win percentage. So clearly that might have just earned him the captaincy again for this Asia Cup. And then obviously with Shubman Gill, captain the Test side, obviously just naturally then followed leadership to become the vice captain. With Jaiswal as well, honestly, yeah, it's just so surprising that these are very talented young players that with UAE is it maybe just I'm sure he's got some experience in obviously with playing against in the UAE as well. So I'm really surprised. I think it's just one of those ones where we've got Abhishek Sharma, we've got Jaiswal. Who do we look at? Because they're quite similar, young, aggressive, dynamic batsman, left-hand batsman. Would it have been a case that we would have liked to see both of them open? Would that have been just maybe a bit too much of a risk? So again, it's a shame that again Jaiswal is not in the squad. So I do feel for him. Again, it's only for the committee to know whether or not there's some politics behind that too. But I doubt it for such a young lad. I don't think he's upset anyone or dating anyone or not planning on getting married to anyone. That's going to cause some problems with the BCCI hierarchy or political hierarchy. Yeah. But let's leave that to speculation. Let's know Jaiswal, take some advice.
It was quite interesting actually. So I saw a post or interview from Ravi Ashwin, and he mentioned kind of both Jaiswal and Shreyas's exclusion from the team, and he said it's surprising that both these players seem to put the team first rather than themselves, and it seems to be in this instance to the detriment of themselves. Maybe they need to change how they perform and put themselves first, and maybe they'll be more likely to get accepted. Now, again, this is someone who's obviously closer to the to the know-how than what we are. Obviously, he's still got friends within the Indian team, so it's quite interesting, really, that a recently retired professional from the national team is kind of making statements like this.
No, I completely agree. I think it's also noticeable. Harshit Rana, another KKR favourite. He was with the Test squad. He's made this squad. There's a joke doing the rounds that India's only current 3 format player is Harshit Rana. Everybody knows he's a Gambhir favourite. So I think that's the disappointment for me, I think, with this squad announcement, is I think we can now safely say it's not about what you do on the pitch. Ashwin has actually been through the Gambhir effect. His dad came out and said, well, he's retired because he's not getting the opportunities. Why is he going to, at this age, fly to Australia and be with the squad if he's not playing? Yeah. He might as well give a Washington Sundar a chance. Why is Ashwin going to be there? That's, my message to Gambhir would be, BSP Siraj has got you out of a hole. You've by the skin of your teeth drawn a series. The whole narrative has changed around you as a coach because of that final 5th day at the Oval. You should have gone back and said, right, I need to put my politics to one side. He's not done that. He's literally gone back, has an issue with Shreyas, who's been unbelievable as a leader, as a player in IPL, gone away from them. And even Ajit Tagakar, who disappointingly was a player I actually loved when he played. Watching his press conference, it made me feel uneasy. Some of the questions, I'd like them to come out and say, Abhishek Sharma is the number 1 batter in T20 cricket. Jaiswal, after 5 Test matches, deserves a bit of a rest. Game management. There was none of that. No. Just the whole thing, and even when he came about Shreyas, there's nothing more he can do. It's a cop-out answer. As a player, what do you take from that? You need to work on this, you need to work on that, I need to improve this, I'm not good in the conditions. Really, I found it strange. I think I'm glad the squad's been announced now, and I think we're all probably going to feel the same. Looking forward to September in the Asia Cup. It's always, very high octane, a really good kind of series to watch. But I think now, again with another squad announcement, there's probably more questions than answers, and I think would you two agree?
Yeah, I think the thing is, I
Definitely.
mean, again, I'm gonna let my tongue loose here because Roy's not here to control us. Just stop with the bullshit. I mean, there is no excuse nowadays, for kind of, they have media training. I understand that, but the thing is, nowadays there's so many experts available because of videos and data analysis, etc., where you can easily counter argument why a player is not going to be successful. It's not like years ago when you haven't got this kind of accessibility to kind of data. So just be honest, and if there is a personal clash, fine. You know what? If Gautam Gambhir came out and said, there's a clash of values between me and Shreyas or wherever, there's a personality clash, I respect him for that, because then I'll say, do you know what? He's the coach, and he's going to be able to have the trust and the respect of the players that are ultimately going to represent him and the country on the field. But he's not saying that, so that's just adding fuel to the fire. So we're all making assumptions, which are probably right, because looking at what he's done, but also
no smoke without fire.
There's no smoke without fire. But also, let's remember, Shreyas played his part in Gautam Gambhir winning his first trophy as an Indian coach with the Champions Trophy. So he needs to have a little bit of respect for him towards that as well.
Yeah. Ajay?
No, exactly, 100%. I don't know. Even if Shreyas won the IPL last season, he probably would still not got picked. Because obviously the thing is, when it's egos, when it's either personal vendettas or politics, if it runs deep in a person, it's going to show on the field. And I think this is what we alluded to before when we started our podcast regarding the Test match against England. It's that we need to put personal rivalries or personal problems to a side and think about the team, think about the better, kind of forget about personal problems and actually think about the betterment of the team. So it's all a bit kind of messy, like you said. They were, kind of looking at the press conference. You could kind of tell that there was some undertones there and some kind of reading in between the lines. Definitely.
Why wasn't Gautam why wasn't he leading the interesting thing is, for me, is why wasn't he? I mean, there was a picture from the BCCI. He didn't even seem to be on the picture of the selection committee.
Suryakumar Yadav and Ajit Agarkar who were in the press conference.
Where's our friend Gautam?
He only does it when they win. He doesn't do it when there's a difficult day or if they're losing, as we clearly saw with the Test matches. But you know what? At the end of the day, we've got players on the team sheet, and we're going to support them. Come September 14th, you know exactly what's going down that day. We're going to be bleeding blue. It's very hard on that day. So yeah, we're going to be supporting India throughout this whole Asia Cup. So come on, India.
So in Gautam we trust.
For now.
I'm not so sure. Like I said, I think. Do you know what? Honestly, after the Test series, he bought himself some time. And now was his time to go back to the drawing board and say, right, I've got away with a draw by literally the skin of my teeth here. By a groundsman taking a decision to not finish the game on the fourth day, giving DSP Saab and Prasidh Krishna a night to relax, couple of massages, good night's sleep. They've come back fresh. They've won us the game. We've got away with the 2-2. Otherwise, Gotti's head was on the chopping board. He literally would have lost another series. And that was his chance to say, I don't think the way I'm kind of going about the approach is working here. But if anything, he's now gone the other way and doubled down on his approach and said, well, it was right in England. I'm going to do it again. I don't think it was. And I think how you could not think Shreyas. I mean, we've even got our friends over in Australia who do a fantastic cricket podcast even saying, why isn't Shreyas Iyer not in the squad? They cannot get their head around it. You put your best players on the part. And again, there's big question marks. He's not even with the reserve players. Yeah, it's an interesting one.
On the basis that he got Punjab, I mean, we're all Punjabis here. He got Punjab to the first or second final?
Second.
First final in a number of years, yeah.
Yeah, first final in a number of years. I mean, bloody hell, that's an achievement for itself. I mean,
Well, I'd say it's a combination of him and Ricky Ponting as well. And I'd say Ricky Ponting. Then BCCI need to get Ricky Ponting on as the next coach. Give him the job, honestly, because them two obviously have amazing kind of work, kind of an understanding and partnership. Obviously, to propel Punjab, who have, we've always felt at the beginning of watching IPL, yes, this is going to be Punjab's year. They had Chahal in, they have Arshdeep, and we were going to think, they're going to do well. But then halfway through the season, they just kind of teeter. But that's what Shreyas kind of gave. They gave him a kind of control, stable management and good leadership qualities, and he performed well with the bat in times when Punjab needed him. So it's a shame, honestly, man. Gothi's going to have a lot to answer for if India don't do well in this Asia Cup tournament. Let's see.
Yeah. I feel like we've rewinded to the start of the England series, but this is exactly what we were all
This
saying
is what happens with managers.
Yeah,
that's it, And with coaches, sorry.
And this is unfiltered. There's no Rohit to stop us talking about this week. He used to keep us in line. And, I think the three of us letting our imaginations run wild here. But no, I think, it's just, there's no explanation for it. The test thing, you could do it, the short ball, English conditions, test record, even though he scored runs in Ranji Trophy, it was, well, doing it in England's a different kettle of fish. It is. There was kind of something where you could go, okay then, fine. But to say we've lost Rohit's leadership, Kuldeep's leadership, Jadeja's leadership, Axar's a great player, but he's not going to bring that wealth of experience that, Jaddu at 36 has. Axar's fantastic, by the way, but you need your leaders. Again, clearly they clash.
And not even leadership, sorry, just to come in, it's not even that, but even just the number 3/4 position batsman has been such a pain for India for such a long time. And he fit exactly the type of player that we exactly. So it's not even like he had an argument to say, no, we've got Virat and we've got either Surya, we've got Tilak in, we've got Sai, we've got Rahane, we've got all these other batsmen in that can fill that position. Pujara, exactly. We didn't. This was made for Shreyas to come in that Test series against England, and also even now, and then Surya could come in at 4 or 5, and then you could have had Shubman in at number 4. Or Shubman will probably open, but this is the thing. It's just ridiculous. It was, it's a hard pill to swallow. Let's just say I feel bad for Shreyas.
Anyway, I think in Gothi we trust for now, and then we'll obviously dissect.
Rohit's obviously been on the blower to Amit. He's obviously said, lads, finish it off.
I'm on a bonus. The amount of times I drop in Gothi we trust, I'm getting extra carrots in my.
You know what? You couldn't get me to say it. I couldn't say it.
Well, it's Team India first. At the end of the day, he's a coach and his heads will roll. And the most important thing is let's hope that the team gels well and they really get to show their potential and really prove that the powerhouse that we are in the limited over format, and we get to win the Asia Cup. Although it'd be interesting following what happened with the old boys tournament. If India do end up meeting Pakistan, whether that game goes ahead or not. But let's discuss that if we come to that bridge.
Right. Yeah. No, definitely.
It's a very important point.
No, it definitely is, and we'll no doubt, of course, be discussing that in September as we draw closer to the Asia Cup. But no, we had a number of fans who wanted our reaction to the Asia Cup squad announcement, so we thought we'd drop a little special for you. But make sure you like and subscribe and follow, and we'll be back with more cricket content very, very soon. So bring on the Asia Cup, and not quite sure in the Gothi we trust, but come on, Team India.
Come on, India.
Come on. And big up to Arshdeep Singh. Finally, he's going to be playing rather than recording videos. Perfect.
No Snapchat, Arshdeep.